Hello, and welcome to this program by Midsummer's Music. I'm Jacob Beranek, and I'll be your host for today. I'm also the composer in residence with the Midsummer's Music Festival, and I'm delighted that as part of today's program, which is called New Voices, we will hear the world premiere of my new piano trio number 1, Midsummer. We'll also hear the music of composers Reynaldo and Erling Horn. But before we get going, a few thank yous are in order. I'd like to thank today's sponsors, and they are Jeannie and Wietse de Vries, Bob and Ruth Fleck, and Julie Ann Fleck Hobbs. We'd also like to thank the Miller Art Museum. They're the space in which we recorded this concert, and we're very grateful for them for allowing us this beautiful location alongside such beautiful art to record our music. If you'd like to follow along with the program book today, we have e-program books available online. If you go to midsummersmusic.com, you can see up at the top of the page a button that says Virtual Events, and if you click that, it'll take you to our program books, which feature program notes and a listing of the pieces we'll be performing. I'd like to bring your attention to a special event, too, that will be happening in a couple months. This is our Midsummer's Music Gala. It's for our 30th anniversary season, and as part of this, we will have the auction of 10 violins that have been painted. That's right, painted. The violins have been painted by 10 local artists. We'll also have a silent auction. These violins really are extraordinary. I've seen pictures of several, but I've had the honor to actually hold one in person. It's the violin that was painted by the painter Mary White. It was inspired by a piece of music of mine, actually. I'm honored that Mary felt so moved by a piece to paint it on this violin. It features her gorgeous flowers all over the violin, but also some of my sheet music and a poem I wrote right in the middle of the violin. It's one of the most amazing things as a composer to have another artist respond to your work like that. And so I'm very grateful to Mary and for all the other artists too for painting these wonderful violins, which we will auction on October 10th. That will be hosted by Eric Lewis online. Now, before we get going to the concert too, I'd like to mention just a quick note about donations. You can make tax-deductible donations right at midsummersmusic.com, and these really are important to us, as evidenced seriously by the fact that we have a season this year. It was a very uncertain time, and still is with the pandemic, and many music festivals were not able to carry on this year. However, I'm very grateful that Midsummer's was. Of course, from my perspective as a composer, to have a piece premiered still is a great blessing. But also, I'm sure for the audiences and the musicians themselves. For the many months that we have spent in quarantine, it's been difficult to not perform with other people and to engage in live music. Now, we finally have the opportunity again to make music together. And it is truly a rich, wonderful blessing for all of us involved. So thank you for your donations. It allows us to keep making music together. Now, with no further ado, I'd like to introduce the performers for today's concert. There will be David Perry and Ann Palen on violins, Allyson Fleck on the viola, Greg Sauer on the cello, and also Jeannie Yu on the piano. Now to the first piece on our program, my very own piano trio number 1, which is subtitled Midsummer. This is the world premiere of this piece, and I couldn't be more excited to be with you all today to discuss it and to listen, of course. A little word about the background of the piece. This is my 4th season in residence with Midsummer's Music, and the previous 3 seasons that I've been in residence here, I've written quintets for different instrumentation, but still 5 instrumentalists. This year, when I was talking with Jim Birkenstock about what I would like to write, we came up with the idea of writing a piano trio, not necessarily to downsize from my previous seasons, but because there's something about the piano trio that that has weight, and at least in the terms of the repertoire and the canon. You know, it's a really big moment, I think, when a composer decides to write their first piano trio or their first string quartet or their first symphony, certainly. And I wouldn't put the piano trio on the same level as one's first symphony in terms of how monumental it is. But nonetheless, with this first piano trio of mine, I feel like I am taking a step forward and adding my name to the list of many, many great composers that have gone before me and have paved the way in this genre. And it is certainly a humbling undertaking to write in a genre with such a colored and storied lineage. So this piano trio of mine, I subtitled Midsummer. And that's not only an homage to the festival, although it certainly is, this being their 30th anniversary, but also to the music that Midsummer's champions. I've learned a lot of my repertoire that inspires me today by sitting at Midsummer's concerts, or even better, turning pages at the piano. And for a composer to experience such things as Dvorak and Brahms and Joachim Raff and so many great other pieces from the musician's seat is a very rare experience, and is one that is certainly extremely inspirational to me and has left an indelible impression on how I understand chamber music. So I like to think of this piece as also a nod to the piano trio repertoire that Midsummer's has championed over the last 30 years. And as a result, some things in this piece may sound, well, perhaps a little old-fashioned, but it's all in my own voice, I'd like to believe. But the melodies and some of the textures are a direct descendant of the romantic piano trios that I've grown to love because of my time at Midsummer's. So I do hope you enjoy this new synthesis of styles and commingling of melodic invention and all sorts of wonderful things. I hope the performers really enjoyed learning this piece. It was a pleasure to rehearse with them all. And I do hope you enjoy this world premiere of my piano trio number 1, Midsummer. You just heard my very own piano trio number 1, Midsummer. I am so excited and thrilled that we just were able to experience that together. It's one of the most thrilling things for a composer to experience the world premiere of his new composition. It's like bringing a new child to life. I'm elated that we could just listen to that together. Now, on to the next piece of the program. This is The Black Tango by Erling Patrick Horn. It's a piece for piano quartet, which is violin, viola, cello, and piano. Mr. Horn was educated in the United States. He went to school at Rice and Northwestern, but he's now living in Canada. But what is interesting about Mr. Horn's style is that it was influenced by the Argentinian composer Astor Piazzolla. Piazzolla made his name writing tangos, and tango influenced pieces. And Mr. Horn, as well as Mr. Piazzolla, felt that the tango is one of the best genres of music that show commingling of classical and popular music in one. It's a very exciting style. And a large amount of Mr. Horn's compositional output have been tangos. I have a list here starting back in 1998. We have Tango of the Night, the Tunisian Tango, the D minor Tango for string quartet, even a Tango Fugue, and all the way up through 2007 with Tango for a Great Lake. But the piece that we're about to hear is the Black Tango, and this comes from 2002. I hope you enjoyed this very fun, exciting piece. It's riveting. I think the musicians really are having a good time performing it as well. So, Erling Patrick Horn's Black Tango for piano quartet.
Hello, I'm Jerod Santek, Artistic Director at Right on Door County. We're very happy to be able to continue our collaboration with Midsummer's Music in bringing poetry to your concerts. Today, we're very happy to have with us poet Alessandra Ross, who lives and writes on a working farm on Washington Island. Welcome, Alessandra.
New mother poem, Honey Locust. If I were a honey locust, you would be my seed pod. Your little round body bound by sweet pulp and leather skin. When student protesters are struck by trucks and flares of the National Guard, their blood will wet the sidewalks. Their young hands will not sculpt or write or clap. But you, my little legume, when your pod is crushed in the street and power hoses wash away litter and crowds, you will float along until you bloat with water and sun, until you find a crevice or a spot of trampled earth, and you will sprout and hold your compound leaves in the air.
Now, a piece by Reynaldo Hahn. Reynaldo Hahn was born in Venezuela in 1874, and he moved to Paris when he was a small child. He was a child prodigy, making his debut, I believe, at the age of 6, accompanying himself singing art songs. What is extraordinary about his early education is that he was allowed into the Paris Conservatoire at a very young age, I believe 10 years old, which is extraordinary for an institution as the Paris Conservatoire, who kind of had an infamous reputation for not dealing with child prodigies. Liszt himself was refused when he was young. But Reynaldo Hahn made it into the Paris Conservatoire, and he studied along such students as Ravel, with teachers as Camille Saint-Saëns, Jules Massenet, and Charles Gounod. Reynaldo Hahn went to make quite a career for himself in art song, or as the French say, mélodie, and also operetta. But he also became a respected art and music critic. He wrote for Le Figaro, and he also, at the end of his life, became director of the Paris Opera. However, his tenure there was quite short, as World War II interrupted the beginning of it, and he only had a couple years before he died in 1947 to serve in that position. The piece we're about to hear comes from earlier in his life, in 1922. It is a piano quintet for 2 violins, viola, cello, and piano, and it's in the key of F-sharp minor. I hope you enjoy this, Reynaldo Hahn's Piano Quintet.
my name is Allyson Fleck. I'm Executive Director of Midsummer's Music, and I am so happy to have this time with Jacob. Jacob was our host today, but he was also our world premiere composer. It's an incredible opportunity for Midsummer's Music to get to work with Jacob year after year. This is our 4th year. Each time, an incredible piece that we get to play as part of our Midsummer's Music season. Jacob, the first question I have for you is, I think you're at school now. Can you tell us where you are, what you're doing? The question is when we say school, I mean, that implies you're young, which we know you are. So how old are you and all that kind of stuff?
Yes. No, I am. I'm in Nashville right now. And I just moved in for my senior year at Vanderbilt University. So I'm studying composition at the Blair School of Music. And yeah, I'm 21 years old, so I'm still young.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. But you write as though you've had years and years of experience doing this, which actually I think you might have. So tell us, when did you start and how did you start?
I started when I was 8 years old. I played the piano, and so my piano teacher at the time required all his piano students to take theory lessons, and as part of that, we had to compose a piece a year, and I hated it at first. But Mr. Sam Ekoff, thank you if you're listening. He held my feet to the fire and really laid the foundation for the composer that I am today. So yeah, that was several years ago.
You know, I too am so grateful for all my teachers, you know, the ones who just help you out along the way, help you become the professional that you're going to be. And I wonder, have you worked with any students yet? Have you sat down with younger people interested in composition, or is that on your horizon to do sometime soon?
You know, I haven't really yet. I mean, occasionally, you know, you might look at a piece of somebody younger, but nothing as a legitimate composition lesson, but I'm sure that is going to be coming up soon, and I look forward to it. I've started a note on my phone and I wish I would have started this sooner, but I have so many wonderful teachers at Vanderbilt, and when they say something really profound, I write that down, like, okay, make sure you tell your students that someday, or you know, if I have a realization about something that I do compositionally that never occurred to me, like, okay, make sure to teach somebody that someday. So hopefully soon, but not yet.
Passing on your words of wisdom already. I'm very grateful for that. And I know that you will influence other young composers who are out there. So that's really great. You said you play piano. Is there another instrument that you have now or have had in the past?
Well, the one I did do actually was viola for three months, I believe in 6th grade. So it wasn't long, but it was, honestly, I did it more to just understand a string instrument. And my parents said, you know,
most complicated, of course, you know.
Well, they said, you know, because the viola doesn't have the high E string, it'll be less squeaky than a violin when I'm just learning it for 3 months. So that's why they said you should do the viola. So I have a sense of how the fingers and the bow and, you know, all that, but that was about it. Yeah. I sing in choir. I've been singing in choirs since I was very young, but
also really great for any musician to be experienced as a singer. Oh, that's great.
It's my only ensemble though. It's made it difficult to, you know, write for wind orchestra or symphony orchestra because my high school didn't have an orchestra or a band. So it's, you know, those worlds I've had to enter through rehearsals and reading textbooks and studying scores. So, you know.
Well, very good. I've heard you talk about some influences before, but I wonder if you could share growing up who you would identify with as a most influential composer, and then maybe even a most influential piece, if there is such a thing. Yeah,
well, it's definitely Antonin Dvorak. He has always been my favorite since probably 6 or 7 years old. I have Czech heritage on my father's side of the family, so I was always drawn to that. But yeah, it really started after I started playing piano. My mom and I would do a road trip every summer, just her and I, and she asked me, she goes, where do you want to go this summer? And I think I was 8 years old, and she was expecting, amusement park or water park or something like that. And I said, I want to go to Spillville, Iowa. And she goes, what on earth is in Spillville? And I said, well, it's where Dvorak spent 100 days in 1893, of course, So she and I went and visited Spillville, Iowa. And that's really when my passion for Dvorak,
and he wrote, Dvorak wrote so many pieces, especially during that time period itself. But is there something in particular, like if, let's say somebody's listening today and they're like, oh yeah, Dvorak, I know Dvorak, but what would Jacob say would be like one of the greatest? And you could list a few, but where would you direct us to get to know Dvorak?
Well, there's so many different things. When it started, it was the American String Quartet that, being out in Spillville, that was the immediate connection, and the string quintet that he wrote out there too, that I really grew to love. But the piano trios, because the piece today is a piano trio, I love all four of them really, really deeply in their own way. The Dumki, the last one, it's just been very near and dear to my heart. But I've revisited actually the third, the F minor, and that I think takes the cake for me. If I had to pick one chamber piece lately that influenced me the most while writing this piano trio, it was the third. Yeah.
Well, yeah, let's talk about the fact that today we had Piano Trio by Jacob Beranek. Now, you have several pieces. Actually, how many pieces have you composed at this point, like all together?
I have a list somewhere. I think it's about 80. It's over 70 now. But
and what's next? Like, what are you going to start working on as the next new piece?
Well, I'm in the middle of a few things right now. I'm doing a small piece for English horn and piano. I was in the middle of writing a 3-movement piece for 2 violins and piano, which I'm calling 3 investigations, but I've only written 2 movements so far. So it's only 2 investigations as of now, and I need to finish the 3rd movement.
So the case isn't closed just yet.
Right. But on the horizon, definitely a string quartet. That's the next big project that I want to do.
Great.
I don't know how soon that will be, but that's the next, as I look ahead, I really would like to move to that before grad school next year. I'd love to have a string quartet down. But it's scary. It's
well, here you are. You've done the piano trio, so why not? Next is string quartet. I think that's incredible.
Yeah. I might try to ease into it first, a string trio or something.
Sure.
But Beethoven waited. He needed his string trios first, so I should take a lead from him. Yeah.
Well, Jacob, it's a lot of fun to get to talk to you and get to know you. Now I'm going to put you under pressure. That was the easy part.
Oh boy.
I'm going to do a little rapid fire with you. And so these kinds of questions, which are fun for me, hopefully you'll find them fun too. The idea is that you don't take too long to think about it. So really just whatever pops in, then you give out. All right?
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready as I'll ever be.
All right. What's the first word that comes into your mind right now?
Dvorak, I guess.
There you go. What other special talents do you have?
I enjoy golf, and I'm a big genealogist, actually. That's my hobby, genealogy, family history.
Very cool. Favorite last book or movie?
Well, my favorite all time is the Sherlock Holmes canon. I love that. But I just read the autobiography of Darren Hagen, composer, and he's from Wisconsin as well. So that was a fantastic reading his.
All right. Well, we'll have to put that on the reading list. All right. Very good. What about your least favorite food?
Tuna, I think.
In the can or fresh?
No can. Get your sardines, I guess. My grandpa wouldn't be happy with me saying that. But.
All right, dogs or cats?
Dogs, absolutely.
Thrilling rides or R&R?
Oh, probably R&R, yeah.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate, dark chocolate though.
Sneakers or sandals?
Sneakers.
Bach or Beethoven?
Oh no. Oh man, you can't have one without the other. I guess Beethoven, but that's tough. I love Bach.
All right. Favorite joke? Do you have one?
No, I guess it depends on the situation.
All right. It's a good thing you didn't start with the viola joke. I'll pass
I
on
was going to say there's a lot.
All right. Here's the last one. What would you do if a wild goose started chasing you?
Chase it back, I guess.
That's what I thought I might do.
I don't know. I'd probably be out golfing. There's a lot of geese when you're out golfing, so I'd have a club. But
out here in Door County,
I
there's
wouldn't want to hurt
plenty.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, we don't need to hurt them. We just need to say, "Hey, back off!" Right?
Let me finish my game.
All right. Well, that's the end of my question. You're great. You're very fast, as I was not surprised. So thank you again. It's a lot of fun, and this whole program has been so rewarding for us, and we're excited to see all the new compositions that come from Jacob Beranek. And go ahead, remind us where people can find you and your music.
Yes. So I have a website at www.veronicmusic.com. And then I also have a Facebook page that's Jacob Beranek Music that you can follow. But yeah, it's a pleasure working with Midsummers. This has been one of those things that every summer I kind of have to pinch myself, because I mean, this is my 4th season now, and I started when I was 18, and to have this opportunity as a composer in residence, it's such a wonderful chamber music festival. I'm still in awe of the kind of blessing this is for me. I think most mid-career professional composers would love this position, and I'm humbled that I can work with you all.
Well, you're amongst those ranks, and we're grateful to have you.
Thank you.
We're going to keep up with you throughout the year, and look forward to hearing more from you. So
Wonderful.
Thanks again for your time today.
All right, thank you, Allyson. You have been listening to Reynaldo Hahn's Piano Quintet in F-sharp minor. That concludes the program for today. I want to thank you all for spending this time with me, listening to this music. I'm thrilled, again, to have been a part of it with my own music, my piano trio number 1. But I'm delighted that we also could listen to the music of Erling Patrick Horn and Reynaldo Hahn together. I'd like to invite you all to our next program, which is called Trois Compositrices, 3 composers. This will be streamed from August 26th through August 30th on the same platforms as we've listened to today, Facebook and YouTube, and on our website. Also, check out the Violin channel, which will be streaming this concert as well. Thank you again for spending this time together with me today, and I hope to see you all maybe sometime in the future in person. Please, also, on a personal note, write me with any thoughts about my piece if you felt so moved. I'm always delighted to hear feedback from audience members about my music, how it affected them, any questions, comments, or even concerns. And with the other music too, we here at Midsummers love being in dialogue with our audiences and fellow music lovers. So please write us a note, either through Facebook or through our website. All the best to you all, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.